Before we can even begin to understand the magnitude of his loss, we really have to grasp the sheer scale of what this man possessed. We're talking about a level of affluence that honestly defies normal comprehension. Forget modern billionaires carrying around sleek black credit cards. Qarun's wealth was so vast that just the keys to his treasures were an unbearable physical burden for a group of strong, powerful men. Think about that for a second. If just the keys were too heavy to lift, try to imagine the sprawling, monumental scale of the actual vaults they unlocked. This was a divine blessing of truly epic proportions. Allah had granted him wealth on a scale that was completely unprecedented.
See, with that kind of immense, society-altering wealth, Qarun's community recognized the huge moral danger he was in, and they stepped up to offer some very clear guidance. They essentially gave him a highly specific three-part formula for how to handle this massive blessing. First, they told him, do not be arrogant. They recognized that pride is always the immediate shadow of great wealth. Second, they advised him to be thankful to Allah for what he gave. This was all about acknowledging the true source of the wealth, that it was a gift, not just a personal conquest. And third, they told him to seek success in the hereafter, meaning, hey, use this temporary worldly wealth to secure a lasting, eternal legacy. It was just a perfect, balanced roadmap for handling extreme prosperity.
So the crucial point is, this is where the narrative shifts dramatically. Qarun was handed the perfect blueprint for success, but when confronted with the wise advice of his people, he replied with total arrogance. He said, I was given all this because of the knowledge I possess. He completely rejected the idea that his wealth was a blessing or a test from Allah. Instead, he claimed total self-reliance. He credited his own intellect, his own business acumen, his own sheer brilliance for everything he had. He completely refused to show any gratitude, and honestly, worse than that, he proudly paraded himself and his wealth in front of the people, just reveling in his own perceived superiority. And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict of the entire story. On one hand, you have the spiritual grounding offered by his people, be thankful to the divine source and acknowledge the gift. But on the other hand, you have Qarun's deeply flawed mindset, complete self-absorption, and the firm belief that he earned it all solely through his own intellect. This psychological pivot right here, this is what triggers his downfall. It's the ultimate clash between humility and hubris.
And the physical reality of this consequence was devastating. According to the source, Allah commanded the earth itself to open up. Qarun wasn't just killed. He, along with his magnificent palace and every single ounce of those treasures, yeah, the ones with the keys too heavy to lift, were swallowed whole by the ground. The very earth he proudly strutted upon just became his grave. Everything he valued, everything he believed made him superior, vanished in a single instant. The whole shebang. Gone.
The story doesn't just end with the destruction of Qarun. It ends with the profound realization of the people who actually witnessed it. They instantly understood a hard truth about a concept known as Takabbur, or arrogance. The source defines this not just as like a bad personality trait, but as a deeply destructive mindset that guarantees ultimate ruin. Qarun's tragic end proved to the witnesses that real power doesn't reside in material possessions or personal intellect. The people finally understood that true honor and true wealth rest solely in the hands of Allah. Arrogance is just a fundamental miscalculation of who is actually in control. Now, if you guys want to explore this historical account yourselves, the complete narrative is deeply anchored in the Qur'an. You can find the specific details we covered today in Surah Al-Qasas, verses 76 through 82. It's a highly recommended read so you can see the exact phrasing and the profound depth of the narrative firsthand.